Good morning, everyone. I'm Maria Shenus H. Villaferte, your instructor for this subject, which is the principles of motor control and learning, exercise, sports, and dance. Before anything else, let me give you a short activity that is connected to what we are going to tackle today. So, what you are going to do is to give word that describe the picture that I will flash on screen. So I have here three pictures. This is the first picture. This is the second picture. And this is the last picture. Alright, let's describe the first picture. Some of you gave these words which are more in sport. Yes, this is a sport. This is a volleyball sport. Yes, the player is doing the ball control, so that's why you gave me a control word. Okay, and volley. Yes, controlling the ball is what we call volley. In one of the skills that a volleyball player should know. Next picture is all right. You got it right. Practice. Okay, practicing or training the children to do ballet. Oh, learning. Very good. Next picture. The last picture. You gave the word therapy. So you have to undergo some therapy to recover from the injury. So those pictures shows our lesson for today, which is the motor control, motor learning, and recovery function. Our objectives for today is to compare and contrast motor learning and motor control in movement performances, discuss the importance of motor control, motor learning, and recovery function in sports, exercise, and dance. And lastly, design a video that shows the differences between motor learning, motor control, and recovery function that will help in understanding body movement. Any question before we proceed? All right, let's define what is motor control. So, motor control is study of nature and cause of movement. What is the cause of the movement? Okay, there are two aspects of motor control. First, stabilizing of the body in space. It aids the motor control as it applies to postural and balance control. As you can see on the picture, the player is controlling the ball. So she have to volley the ball. She have to move the ball on air, moving the body in space. Motor control as it applies to movement. So how will you control your body? Your body coordination, your hands, your arms, your hips, your legs, okay? To control your movement and posture. So that is motor control. Now, let's compare motor control and motor learning. What is motor learning? Motor learning is the study of acquisition and or modification of movement. Unlike to the motor control, as what we have said a while ago, it is the study of nature and cost of movement. Now, motor learning focuses on understanding the acquisition or modification of movement. Okay? And while motor control is focuses on understanding the control of movement that is already acquired. So for example, practicing how to do arabesque in ballet. So you learn what is arabesque. You learn how to do the arabesque, but motor control means controlling your body to do the movement or to do the steps. Okay, so sometimes you know the step but you do not know how to control your body, is your facial expression, your legs. Sometimes we doesn't know that we are doing something which is not really what we have to do. So next example is controlling the ball. Okay, another example is controlling the ball. Just like the picture that shows a while ago, you know what is controlling the ball. You know what is the ball control. Okay, how to do the ball control. But you do not know how to control your force. Sometimes, kapag masyado tayong overwhelmed, na babali natin yung bola ng napakalakas, which cause to the dead ball. Okay, let's proceed. Motor learning. The definition of motor learning reflects in four concepts. First, learning is a process of acquiring the capability for skilled action. Second, learning results from experience or practice. Third, learning cannot be measured directly. Instead, it is interfered based on behavior. And last but not the least, learning produces relatively permanent changes in behavior. Thus, short-term alterations are not thought or of as learning. Okay, this is an example of motor learning. Chronological progress of gross motor development. Motor learning involves more than motor processes. It involves learning new strategies for sensing as well as moving, just like a baby. From lying to sitting and then to walk to standing, walking and running. Okay, so that is an example of motor learning. Complex of perception, cognition, action processes. One cannot study motor learning or recovery of function outside of the context of how individuals are solving functional tasks in specific environments. Relating performance and learning. Here we have to describe what is learning and what is performance, the differences between performance and learning. Learning defined as a relatively permanent change has been distinguished from performance, which is defined as a temporary change in motor behavior seen during practice session. Learning is same with practice. During practice, you learn something. But the more you do practice, the more the level of your performance becomes good. Okay? So if you are a coach, if you are a gym instructor, if you are a physical therapist, if you want to become coaches or a PE teacher like me, you have to know this. Practical applications of motor learning research. You ask this to yourself. How open should my patient practice a particular task? So patient may be your player, your student. Is this type of feedback that I am giving my patient concerning the quality of their movements really effective? Could I give a different form of feedback that might be better? Should I give feedback with every trial that the patient makes? Or would it be better to withhold feedback occasionally and make the patients try to discern for themselves if their movement is accurate or efficient? What is the best timing for feedback? So, as teacher, as therapist, as doctor, as coaches, we should know how to feedback to our patient, to our players, to our students, so that they may know the progress of their performance. These are the practice levels. A most important factor in retaining motor skill rate of improvement during any part of the practice is linearly related to the amount left to improve. Early in the practice of a new task, performance improves rapidly, while after much practice, it improves more slowly. Performance may improve for many years, although the increments may be small. So, you have to monitor the level of their progress and the level of their practices. That's why we have in physical education, the physical fitness test, the FITT. So the frequency, intensity, time, and type. Feedback. Feedback is all the sensory information available as the result of a movement that a person has produced. It is important for motor learning. Why is it important? Do you have any idea why is it important? The feedbacking to your student, to your players, to your patient? Very good. It is important to give feedback so that they are aware of their performance, so that they are aware of what should they practice and what should they do. Okay, so we have the intrinsic and extrinsic feedback. Okay, let's discuss what is intrinsic feedback. This is the feedback that comes to the individual simply through the various sensory systems as a result of the normal production of the movement. It is a visual information concerning whether a movement was accurate as well as somatosensory information. It is concerning the position of the limbs as one. An example of intrinsic feedback is evaluating the gymnast movements from the video. So the coach will take a video of his or her gymnast, and then the gymnast or the coach will allow her gymnast to view the video. So next is the extrinsic feedback. So this is the information that supplements intrinsic feedback. So for example, showing and explaining the progress of students from pre-evaluation of their physical fitness level and the post-physical fitness test in physical education class. And then second sample is after the game, the coach give feedback from the performance of the team. So concurrently with the task or at the end of the task. Okay? And knowledge of results is an example or is an important form of intrinsic feedback given at the end of the task about the outcome of the movement in terms of the movement's goal. So it is very important that the patient, the student, or the player should know the result of their performances. Research has shown that knowledge of results is an important learning variable in learning motor tasks. However, there are some tasks of which intrinsic feedback is sufficient. Summary of knowledge of result is the best feedback. Why? Yes, it is because um, through this you are allowing them to be aware of their practice condition, their practice level, their practice performance. For adults, quantitative knowledge of result appears to be best with a more precise knowledge of result giving a more accurate performance up to the point beyond which there is no further improvement. And then practice condition. These are types of practice sets. When we say must practice, the amount of practice is greater than the amount of rest between trials. And what are the risks of having must practices? Yes, you may experience over fatigue and injury in must practice, while in distributed practice, the amount of practice is less than or equal amount of rest between trials. This is a good type of practice because this is balance. Okay, so your practice is balanced to your rest. Next is variable practice, maybe most essential when learning tasks that are likely to be performed in variable conditions. So here it depends to the variables, like the person, the environment, the type of practice. So it depends. Block or the practicing one task for a block or random practice which is the different tasks in random order. This type of practice is good for professional and advanced skills but not applicable for beginners. It is used when you are targeting more motor skills or motor learning. So, which factors will you consider when deciding on block or random technique? If you are going to plan training or practice program, you can use whole or part training. In whole, breaking the task into interim steps. Part training is identifying the components of the skill or movement, and then ordering them into sequence. Let's proceed to recovery of function. Recovery of function refers to the reacquisition of movement skills lost through injury. So it's like the accidents, operations, or inborn illness. Function is the complex activity of the whole organism that is directed at performing a behavioral task. Sparing of function. When it is not lost despite an injury, it is referred to as spared function. The stages of recovery. So from recovery, we have spontaneous and forced recovery. Forced recovery is the recovery through intervention designed to impact neural mechanisms. There are factors affecting recovery of function. First, experiments show that several pre-injury factors including exercise, environmental, enrichment, and nutrition are neuroprotective. That is, they minimize the effects of neurodegenerative and traumatic brain injury. Post-injury factors such as exercise and training can have a positive effect on recovery of function, but the optimal timing, frequency, and intensity of training depends on the location of injury. Let us sum up our lesson. Motor learning, like motor control, emerges from a complex set of processes, including perception, cognition, and action. Motor learning results from an interaction of the individual with the task and the environment. So for your activity, click this link and watch the video about the importance of recovery after strenuous activity or extraneous training or injury to a person's level of performance and body function condition. Next, after watching this video, you have to create a video that shows the differences between motor learning and motor control and possible recovery exercises of your chosen examples. So that's all for today. This is the references that I used. Thank you and have a good day.